fun begins.
Today is the end of the Republic. The end of a regime that acquiesces to disorder. At this very moment, in a system far from here, the new Republic lies to the galaxy, while secretly supporting the treachery of the roads of resistance. This fierce machine which you have built, upon which we stand, will bring an end to the Senate, to their cherished fleet. All remaining systems will bow to the First Order, and will remember this as the last day of the Republic.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Couch
Yes,
Tower
that
Hero.
video, it's such a fucking gem. Like, I feel like there are definitely certain parts of that video where you feel yourself really moving along with the beats of the piano, and
Yeah, Huck's got bars. This is
it's
a vintage
great
meme. This is
moment.
5 years old, and it comes into my head every time I watch The Force Awakens now. Like,
yeah,
when you just listen to him say the words, you hear that fucking melody in there now. It's been poisoned. Best silent movie soundtrack ever. Absolutely agreed. Also, hello there, Todd. Had a really good time talking with
I
you.
know. We were just talking about how, or I was saying how
We were just saying
last
backstage,
week-
yeah.
how last week was definitely one of my more favorite broadcasts that we've had in quite some time. So, to those who were able to watch and join us last week, we were joined by the amazing Todd Charkowski, who helped with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Amongst
Production
other
design,
things,
yep.
we learned that he was the production. I forget what his
Production
position was
designer.
called.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, but he did for
production
Ginger Snaps, which is like a fucking werewolf classic. So, but
Love
yes, today we have the Mandalorian season 3 finale to sort of touch bases on and
Yeah, the
check
dust
out.
has settled a little bit. It's been like a week. What are your
Yes.
thoughts?
And then we're doing a quick little short Q&A. So we're hoping that,
That's right.
that today will be a very brief but succulent episode today.
Ooh, succulent. It's a good
Mhm.
word. Succulent. Hello there, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, we're going to have a really fun podcast today.
Yes.
Fun fact, this is number 45, 45th Dork Forces podcast. We're so close to 50. But 45 feels inaugural as well to me. I don't know why. We're really
It's a
stacking up
solid
the
number.
numbers here.
It's a good number.
We're going to have to put together something special for when we get to 50, I think.
Something centennial. Yeah.
There you go. Centennial.
That's my
You
fucking
just got
throat
all the
tries to
good
clear.
words today, man.
I know, it's all the allergy medication that I've been taking just because the
It increases
pollen
your
is
vocabulary.
fucking destroying me right now. But yes, so with
There you
Bad
go.
Batch now done, with Mandalorian done.
Yeah, talk about
Visions on
Whiplash,
the
by the way.
horizon.
The Bad Batch
Vision-
ending versus the Mando ending.
Completely
Like,
different, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So I was
Tragedy,
completely wrong.
lovely, wholesome.
Yeah, I was completely wrong in thinking that they were going to give us a, really strong, drawn out rescue for Din Djarin or anything of that, necessity, but it didn't happen. But it does go to prove that, again,
What a throwaway cliffhanger.
as we've learned, you can't please everyone. There were
Oh,
a lot of complainers overall for this season and for the show, and they can all honestly lick my asshole if they really want to.
All right. Well,
yeah.
now that's out there.
It is out there because
You can't put words back in the asshole. They're out.
the Bo redemption arc, fucking brilliant. The fact that they were able to show us certain aspects of the quote unquote rebuilt New Republic, and like everyone's like, oh, it was a wasted episode where they showed like the Doctor and like getting tortured by the double agent and everything, and it was just like, why? Like, it's still.
I mean, I guess it depends on your priorities. It's a waste if all you want is Mandalorian. If all you want is to see Din Djarin doing Din Djarin stuff, then sure, you can call that a waste. But if I don't know, I find it gratifying because it's adding context to not just the story that I love, but the world that I love, you know? And it doesn't necessarily all have to lead to some sort of like narrative fruition for me to find it worthwhile, at least. Like, I thought it was a really cool, that Pershing episode, for example, was a really cool look at like how the New Republic is not too dissimilar from the Empire in the first place.
Exactly.
And how there is kind of a disillusionment that follows the general populace after the end of a war and a big regime shift. And like, as someone who spent a lot of time thinking about the New Republic and wondering about these things, and like, it's really cool to get to see that and compare it to how it was in Legends, you know? And I don't know, like, people will always be mad about Star Wars, because the thing about passion is that people that are passionate have really strong opinions, you know? So if you like something, you love it. And if you don't like something, you hate it. And you're very protective of those things that you love. It was such a
beautiful juxtaposition from what we got to see on Andor. And it was just like, you know, even though it wasn't a continuation of the Mandalorian story per se, it was still the continuation of Coruscant and like the story of Coruscant and what we've seen of this planet throughout the you know, the trilogies and the different shows and series and everything. And it's just like, yeah, getting to see the difference between Andor and now with Mandalorian was just like, it was so cool. Like you said, some episodes were very like kind of Blade Runner-y, and then other episodes were very like still down to earth Western. And fucking Bo-Katan, man, she was fucking eating it up the whole time.
For sure, she was. Yeah, no, she really.
So good. It was so
even in the scenes when she is like frowning and angry and scowling, you can see behind her eyes how big she's like actually smiling, that she's like getting to be a part of it in live action after voicing the character. Like, it was infectious. Her enthusiasm, like it came through the screen, and it made me enthusiastic, you know. But the thing about Coruscant is that like they can take it in any direction that they want, and we know that in canon it's not going to be the capital for much longer. New Republic government is going to become housed on Chandrila, and that'll be the capital. That's what we see get destroyed in the sequels, which means if they want to, they could like try to take Coruscant out, Yuuzhan Vong style, New Jedi Order. Like, you want to talk about divisive issues in Star Wars fans? Let's talk about the New Jedi Order, man. Like, if you think the sequels split the crowd, you should have seen what the Legends community did when fucking R.A. Salvatore killed Chewbacca. Like,
that's true.
Nobody was happy after that one. Like, the Yuuzhan Vong, these assholes from outside the Force, living ships. What the fuck? Like, people were angry. I remember an interview that R.A. Salvatore did in one of the Star Wars magazines, where he talked about like that was the first time he got hate letters, like hate mail from people,
because somebody had to approve the story. Yeah, somebody
like,
had.
There was some deep anger from fans when that happened.
Yeah.
Thank you. Excuse me. Yeah, Hosnian Prime in canon, Chandrila in Legends. Good distinction to make.
Yeah, because we got to see it blown the fuck up in Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the very first book. It was Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, and then Dark Tide came after that, and like the whole galaxy went to war. But man, I remember Vector Prime was a big deal when it came out, because Mark Hamill actually recorded audio for like an ad, for like a TV ad. It was
for the books.
Well, for that book specifically, for Vector Prime, it was cool. Actually, you know what? I bet I can find it in like 2 seconds.
I don't know. That'd be a deep cut. But yeah, and then so even though the finale itself was only a half an hour long, like roughly both shows, their you know, collective seasons were the same period of time. Mando, it was very, I don't know, it's so very easily bingeable. I know a lot of people are complaining that like, oh, Boba Fett should have showed up, or like Boba could have been there, etc., etc. And like the more I thought about it, it was like Boba, like, yeah, he's a friend of Mando, but he doesn't particularly give a shit about Mandalorians and or the planet. So it wouldn't fully make sense for him to show up unless they were specifically needing to rescue Din Djarin.
I have thoughts.
They got him off somewhere else, you know.
I have thoughts. I do agree. He's not really connected to Mandalore, and if they had wanted to work with Tim, they would have brought Tim in. Like, they had an opportunity, and I think that Tim Ware Morrison has every right to be PO'd about that. That's a door that should have been opened for him, and it wasn't for whatever reason. However, looking at the story that they did decide to tell, I don't really get where he would fit in. Like you're saying, he has a loyalty to Din. He owes him one for the events of Book of Boba Fett, but he doesn't have a personal connection to Mandalore. He doesn't. I think his biggest personal connection is to his father, who is arguably Mandalorian. They established he's Mandalorian. It's like canon now in Mandalorian season 2. So if he was to go fight, it would have been to honor his father. That would be the justification that I could come up with. Is like, Django would want me to do this, so this is what I'm going to do. Outside of that, and maybe his friendship with Din, like, it wouldn't super make sense. And he super butts heads with all the Mandos too. So like,
right? If anything, if Boba being there would just give like a common person for both factions of Mandalorians to collectively hate. Because it's like the regular Mandalorians hate him because they don't think he's a real Mandalorian. And then the other Mandalorians hate him because he takes his helmet on and off. So it's just like...
Right. Well, but then again, Mandos hating each other was kind of a theme, and like overcoming that and uniting them. So like Boba could have just been another opportunity for them to show that unity. But also he's got his own thing going on now, you know? They did name drop him in the first episode. It's just seeing Mandos working together was absolutely fantastic. And the shot at the very end with the forge,
beautiful.
With that multicolored crowd
together. Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, the multicolored crowd in front of the Great Forge. It looked just like that shot in Rebels when she's standing on the ramp of the Phantom holding up the saber. Like, it was truly felt like a full circle moment for me. It was great. Boba could have gone through the ceremony. Yeah, he totally could have, if they chose to do that. But maybe there's a reason they don't want him to be a Mandalorian. Maybe they're going to play with that angle of his character a little bit more. Because if they made a Boba Fett season 2, why not make a whole season 2 about him exploring his Mandalorian identity and then making a choice? And maybe he doesn't choose to be a Mandalorian because he's Boba fucking Fett. He's unique and he stands alone in that regard. He's different than the other Mandos, you know?
He's bounty hunter through and through. If anything,
he's also like the last clone, if you don't mention Kix, who's frozen for a long time. Yeah, well, I think putting that talking point to bed was kind of the goal with season 2, when he's all like, "This is Django's chain code. He fought in the Mandalorian Wars."
Yep, exactly.
But there's always more shades of gray, especially with Boba Fett. There's so much that's like either been contradicted in Legends or like straight up unexplained. Like, he has 4 different origin stories, and they're all different from each other. I found it. I found the Mark Hamill himself came out for this one. When Vector Prime came out, it was a big deal, man.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure at this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
I'm not sure we can win. Damn right you can't win. This one's crazy. Yeah, man, that's Nom and Nor right there on the cover. The Yuuzhan Vong invaded the galaxy, and they fucking killed Chewbacca, like, straight away.
Damn.
Cern Padal's moon just comes crushing down into the surface, and it just, like, squishes him. It's kind of badass. They have a creature that, like, creates a gravity well inside itself, and they slip it into the core of the planet, and it, like, sucks the moon down. And that's how they destroy the world. Yeah, it's awesome. It's fucked up, but it's awesome.
Chewbacca, like, I knew they crushed the moon, but I wasn't sure how they like got the
living creature that, like, when it inhales, it's like gravity well power, and it like was inside the planet and just like sucked the moon out of orbit onto the planet and just cratered it. And Han and Chewie flew the Falcon there to try and coordinate like evacuation efforts because they knew that the Yuuzhan Vong were going to do something, but they didn't know what it was. And Han was able to get out, but he left Chewie behind, and then he's like a wreck for like the next, like, I don't know, like 7 books in a row. What felt like forever. I remember reading those and being like, God damn it, Han, get into the action. Like,
I can imagine.
Yeah, and he's a super dick to his kids after that too, while he was grieving Chewbacca.
I can
really mean to Jason and super mean to Anakin because Anakin was with them on the mission, and he like blamed Anakin for Chewie's death. It was like fucked up. Caused a rift in their relationship. Yeah, the Karen Traviss novels are excellent. And interestingly, they don't ever seem to be referenced in other Legends material. Yeah, Karen Traviss wrote a series of spin-off novels for the Republic Commando video game and kind of fleshed out that world of characters.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
Actually, that Mando helmet right there, that's the helmet of Rav Braylor, who's from one of those novels. But like she has like a micro universe within the Legends canon that never seems to be referenced outside of it. Like it's weird. It's weird. It's like no one wants to play with her toys. I don't know why. Do you think they'll bring back the dark sword and Din Grogu's little sword? The sword that make. Now there's so
I was thinking about that. Because like one, it wouldn't be the first time that we've seen crystals get held onto and transferred from one saber to another saber.
For sure.
Two, it would totally make sense that the Darksaber would have its own legitimate lightsaber crystal, of which anyone, Grogu, Din Djarin, anyone could like have dissected the crystal out of the Darksaber, and they could just put it into a different hilt at some later point in time. So
my question is, will he use a sword?
I don't see why not.
He's not walking the Jedi path. So would Grogu then be is he just going to be a blade user just cuz, or is he like going to be using blasters? He is a Mandalorian now, after all.
I mean, we've already seen that he's obviously going to be using the Force because he's trained in it. We've seen that he's going to be trained in more gauntlet shit because he's learned how to use.
I can't wait for that fucking puppet to have a flamethrower, dude. It's going to be amazing.
A paintball, little paintball shooter, and then, I mean, he doesn't have to be a Jedi to use the saber. I mean, look at all the other Mandalorians that used the Darksaber that weren't force sensitive in the least.
For sure. I mean, like, you don't have to have the Force to use a bladed weapon. It's just, it seems to be the weapon of choice when you have the Force versus when you don't.
A lightsaber? Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind
they
of
opt for it because it gives them an edge because they can use it to deflect as well as fight with it. That's really what I think.
It's also a staple. It's also it's
tradition.
It's a very traditional piece. Yeah.
100%. It's a convention. That's the word. Conventional way to conduct yourself if you're a Force user is to use blades.
So I'm sure that he'll probably build one over time, or he'll just take the crystal and wear it as a necklace. Maybe, who knows?
Now there's an idea because Hu Yang is confirmed to be in Ahsoka, and Todd kind of roundabout confirmed that in fact that he's practical, which is awesome. But yeah, we know that he's been around for thousands of years, and he was thousands of years old back in the Clone Wars episode where we met him. So he probably did see the Darksaber get built, unless Tar Vizsla did it like in secret with like a weird, like unique process. Because we know the process was unique. He like treated the Kyber crystal with Beskar, didn't he?
To try to get it into the shape.
To give it the black blade. That's why it has a black blade, is because his Kyber crystal has Beskar infused in it. That was always my understanding of how it works. If someone in the comments knows for sure, tell me, because it's been a headcanon for so long that like I can't remember what's real canon and what I invented in my head to make things make sense. So I'm like,
the thing is that you just put all of his ego into it, and that's kind of like
he poured his malice, his hate,
his
will to dominate all life.
It was just pride. It's just Mandalorian pride.
No, I know. I was just quoting Lord of the Rings.
Oh, gotcha. And then, yeah, if anything, like treating it with Beskar could be like what gives it the pointed edge versus a lightsaber.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
Haha. Because it's not like, oh, Cerelia, I love you. But it's not like the hilt has cortosis in it, like Palpatine's hilt or Mace Windu's hilt.
Yeah, I don't know about the process itself, and maybe that's something that we're going to learn someday. Maybe we'll finally get a Tar Vizsla story. We got a little bit in Rebels when Sabine's learning how to use it.
It's true.
Kanan,
like I said, that's the only true backstory I got, and that's why. That's why I feel like they said that he put all of his all of his effort and pride into the creation of the Darksaber because he wanted it to be fucking perfect.
Hold on. Who's saying that Thrawn's not an effective admiral in the comments up in here? I mean, you know what? I guess
admiral.
It is a pretty solid point that all of his plots do fail in the books. He always gets thwarted at the end of the day. It's formidable, but sacrilege. No, I get it though. Like, that's the thing about having like a longtime villain is they have to win at least some of the time, or they're not a threat anymore. They're just like a cartoonish oaf.
Which is what happened to Veers.
You got to give whoa, careful what you say there. Veers Watch will have your head for that. I don't stand by that comment. But like you got to give your bad guys a win so that they feel like they're actually there's actual stakes, you know? You got to kill at least one character or let him spring at least one trap successfully kind of thing. Maybe you escape at the end of it, but otherwise they turn into a Scooby-Doo villain and you're not even that worried because you know how it's going to end because it always ends the same way. That's why I'm kind of hoping that the Ahsoka show ends in a loss. That Thrawn like beats them. Not necessarily kills them, but like the whole show is them trying really hard to prevent Thrawn from, let's say, returning because Paleon said he hadn't quite returned yet. So like they're trying to prevent Thrawn's return and like somehow they fail. There's a big old battle and then the season ends with like Thrawn returning. And like, you know, it's very Empire Strikes Back. Like the heroes have fallen and they have to like try again in the next one. It's setting up a sequel. I think that would be a really good way to make Thrawn more formidable because he did like, you know, the same thing happened in Rebels. He got a couple wins, but at the end of the day, I mean, how do you see Space Waves?
He got individual wins.
How do you
that was the difference. He got individual wins and he was able to like personally hurt and strike key cast members. Like when he stole Hera's family, like the family heirloom thing.
The Calicori.
Like, yeah, or like when he personally shot down the TIE Interceptor with a fucking hand pistol.
That was dope.
Well, the dude's pretty fucking great by himself.
He's a formidable individual.
But when he has to rely on henchmen, or when henchmen, like, they're the ones who usually fuck up on him, sort of a deal.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's 0 hour. Yeah, when everyone's like evacuating from Adelon, and Admiral Constantine breaks from the formation because he's like chasing like a kill, and it leaves an opening, and the whole fucking fleet escapes. Like, you're right. Thrawn's plan was solid. He would have successfully like contained them, but Admiral Constantine fucked it up. Yep. So that's true. That's true. A lot of the wins, like a lot of his losses, aren't necessarily his own fault. But then again, you're the Grand Admiral. You're in charge of your people. He should have anticipated Constantine making a bad move and replaced him with another admiral. That's what he should have done.
But he was a little too distracted by the mission and by the win.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the problem with leadership positions, is that you can have a perfect plan, but you're also responsible for how well your people execute that plan. And you need to anticipate whether or not they're up to
they're going to fuck up or not.
And replace them if they're not, you know? It's a balance between having faith and being real, you know? And I don't know. Thrawn gave Admiral Constantine a very long leash, and I feel like that was kind of his undoing there. Admiral Piet was a far more effective commander than Admiral Ozzel was, till he took an A-wing to the face at Endor. Arvel Krynide drove that A-wing. I love that scene.
They're so good.
Intensify forward firepower. Too late.
Yeah.
I think my favorite Imperial officer is Captain Nita, who like straight up owns up to Vader. He like basically sacrifices himself to save the rest of the bridge crew. He's like, I'm gonna go inform Lord Vader that we lost them. Like, it's not necessarily my fault. Like, I wasn't the one sitting at the little control station, but like someone's got to take the blame for this.
Because he was in charge. Yeah, like
he was a homie to his subordinates. He was like, you know what? I'll take the blame. Don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly. Apology accepted, Captain Nita. It was so cold.
Damn.
So cold. Yeah, but you got to give credit where it's due. He like protected his coworkers with that one.
Sure.
I enjoyed the finale, and the thing about cameos for me is that it's like a ooh cool moment, and then it's over. It's not something that I'm hanging out waiting for, and I don't have expectations placed on it. If I see someone I recognize, it's going to make my day. But if I don't see him, I'm not going to feel disappointed because it wasn't really a box for me to check off in my viewing experience. Like, it's a little happy surprise. I try not to hang out for it. And I completely agree. Shows need to focus on their stories more than little opportunities to like throw in little member berries. The Mandalorian finale missed a big moment by not bringing the mythosaur to come up to the top of the water to look at Din Grogu. But then it would be everyone's like big moment. Yeah. And it's supposed to be special for Grogu. It would have been dope. I think the Mandos would have freaked out, and some of them would have tried to kill it.
everyone would have freaked the fuck out because it would have been like a Loch Ness monster situation.
Right. It's like Nessie shows up at your baptism. You're gonna be like, oh my god, what is that thing? But at the same time, like it's kind of cool that he has like the secret friend now.
And Bo knows that it's there too.
They might not even do anything with it. It might just be like it's a sign to us, the audience, that he's the chosen one, and then we're not going to get any more mythosaur action for like a season, like maybe just at the end. Although I think someone's writing it. Someone's definitely going to write it, and it's probably going to be Grogu, or maybe like Din holding Grogu, writing it. That'd be cool. Hello there. Was there a comment that was going to be attached to this? If not, thank you.
Yeah. No, I
kind of hoped the mythosaur was going to eat Gideon. I kind of thought that. How cheesy would that have been, though? It'd be like Hook getting eaten by the croc at the end, you know?
Exactly, 100%. It would have been very. It would have been very crocodile. It would have been very Hook crocodile, 100%. Fuck. Now I totally forgot what I was gonna. I was distracted by the crocodile.
Is that directed to me or Bendu? I for the record, I don't ship Bo and Din.
Neither of us ship that shit.
I'm just call it as I see it. Oh, I see a guy pledge himself to a person. What else are you going to call that? Maybe it's romantic. Maybe it's not romantic. He pledged himself to her. That happened. That's a fact. And if that equates to shipping someone, then I guess I am. But I don't know if it's romantic, and I don't care if it's romantic. Quite honestly,
I don't think it's romantic.
But he did pledge himself to her, and that's not nothing.
He bent the knee. That's all that fucking.
He did. Yeah, he did. But how many people do you bend the knee to in your daily? Like that's a significant event in a person's life. It's not nothing.
Like
it may not be everything, but it's not nothing.
Saying that he had faith in her being a leader, and like that he wasn't gonna try to like pull some shit and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to be blah blah blah. But I do
completely agree. They don't need nothing.
They did show us a lot of really cool creatures, and the Mandalorians did get like almost eaten by a lot of different things this season. We got the really cool like weird bat dragon pterodactyl looking thing, and then we got the giant alligator turtle.
The turtle thing from the first episode, yeah.
Crocodile turtle, that like crocodile tortoise, like shit was cool.
There's been a ton of creatures in this show, and I really
we got the chuds. We got the fucking those mutated things on Mandalore with the 6 eyes.
I'm gonna call them the chuds from now on.
I mean, they are. They're humanoid underground dwellers. Probably
creepy. And that creepy spider thing, the Bionicle.
Dude, the Bionicle.
Canon ruler of Mandalore for about 45 minutes. Long may he reign. Yeah, no, that's pretty amazing. I have to say, I do appreciate, now that I've had some time to think about it, the way they literally fucking rules lawyered the Darksaber to Bo-Katan.
I mean, they're fucking middle schoolers, so it would make sense that if you use middle school logic of middle schoolers.
It holds up. It absolutely holds up. If Ragnar didn't bring up the mythosaur, being the little monster magnet he is, nothing will. Seriously, that should be a running gag, is once a season, some animal tries to eat Ragnar.
Oh my God, can it?
We got to rescue him every single season.
Fucking hilarious. The fact that we got to see him get literally regurgitated and put into a fucking bird nest, like that was just hilarious.
I saw that picture too. Yes, it's more of a squiggle than an actual image of Grogu. It kind of looks like him, but it could just as easily be just a Yoda species silhouette. This was years and years and years before Grogu was was created or thought of. So I think it's a stretch. Let me see if I can find that picture. I can put it up on the screen. Yeah, grab another comment
here a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, again, who is here. All 90 of you currently hanging out and watching with us. So we are doing a little bit more of a live Q&A with the chat on this one, but also going through our breaking down and our final thoughts of the season 3 finale of Mandalorian, which was a very nice, well wrapped, put with a pretty bow sort of delivery versus the complete what the fuck was that Bad Batch gave us.
That was pretty rough. It was pretty intense.
The literal like mid-season finale feeling season finale, like yeah. But if anything,
I can appreciate a cliffhanger. That was too big of a cliffhanger. You know what I mean?
Getting to see a sort of what's it called? I guess it wasn't quite a climactic ending of seeing what the cloning
Agreed.
was turning into, but I guess at the same time it was very telling, and it came to a key point of like the fact that Gideon was able to make his clones potentially force sensitive. It still is a step that keeps us going towards the Snoke tank Palpatine clone sort of angle.
All roads lead to Exegol.
Yeah, if they're still able to make a clone successfully force sensitive, like that information in that hard drive goes towards it.
We don't know what stage in the process Gideon was at.
Yeah.
Were those finished clones? The process had completely gone through, and the ones that didn't killed in those tanks were force sensitive, or were they just like the first round of testing and he hadn't quite worked out the kinks yet? You know,
they said they were perfect, and then he got
in every way except for the thing that they were missing. It wasn't clear to me. I called that Din's loyalty. He's a loyal dude. I don't see Jon Snow in him. No, he's not gonna go Jon Snow. I don't think that he would turn his back on Bo, even if she goes crazy. Well, maybe. I don't know. Let's hope that that's something that we never have to find out, because can you imagine the unrest, the absolute outrage if they Game of Thrones the final season of Mandalorian? I don't even want to speak that into existence, you know? So so let's look at this Rebels picture real quick. This is a still from Star Wars Rebels that people are thinking shows Sabine. Oh, well, it does show Sabine, but right over Sabine's shoulder here. Does that look like Grogu to you?
Zoom in here. No, it looks like Groot, if anything. Or you know what it looks like? It looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Below the Doughboy, right here.
Underneath the Pillsbury Doughboy. Yes, it looks like someone. It could either be Grogu, but it definitely looks like it could be a Yoda species.
I think it does resemble Grogu. Like, I get it. I think it also resembles every other member of his species to ever exist. Like, we've never seen one that doesn't have that silhouette. So I don't think we can conclusively say who it is. He does kind of look like he's wearing the little gunny sack, though. You know, he does kind of have the little, like, I don't know, man, but it's so many years before. If that's Grogu on the left, then that's Coco Pelli over there on the right, in the bottom corner. He just doesn't have his flute. I see what you see. I see what you're seeing.
I see the possibility. I just don't know if it actually is what it is.
I'm skeptical.
Covert season finale for Mando season 3. I mean, it did kind of have like a very like
kind of. Is that because of the pinhole wipe at the very end? That is kind of a final editing move usually. I think there's going to be another season. I think it's been confirmed that season 4 is already written.
If anything, it'll probably just be this will be the last time that we'll see these characters in the state that they're in, which means when we see them again in season 4, it could be like a 10 years later sort of a thing, or a 5 years later sort of a thing. Like they could give us a significant time jump.
It's true that as soon as the show ends, the characters are just going to get catapulted into other shows. Like
Especially
even
leading
once the
up to
Mandalorian TM concludes, we'll see Din Djarin again many times. I'm sure.
Especially leading up to whatever this final like main movie is. That's being
Which is not coming out till 2029. So like that's a long time from now. Hello there, Darth Nicholas. Been a big fan of you guys for a while. This is my first super chat. Well, thank you very much. What do you guys predict will happen to Elia Kane now that Gideon's dead? Will she shift her allegiance to the New Republic or take Gideon's place? Taking Gideon's place is going to be really tough because Gideon was like one of several members of a Shadow Council. So like they're going to like absorb his territory and carve it up among the other members, I think. That's probably what's going to happen. So she would have like Imperial adversaries as well as the New Republic to fight against if she was going to do that. You know what I think would be really cool and might have been a plan before Rangers of the New Republic fell apart is what if she plays a role similar to like Yasan Isard from the Michael Stackpole X-Wing novels, and like we get like the Neo Remnant ISB still active, and she stays on Coruscant, becomes like the main spy, and starts like supplanting them from within, and forms like a whole cell of like Imperial saboteurs.
I can see that. That'd be really cool.
Kind of going rogue, but not really. Just sort of continuing the mission by her own means.
Yeah,
because she's obviously very capable. Yeah, she's very capable. She's like a devout member of the Empire. Like she truly, like ideologically believes in the Empire, and she's a crazy sadist. What she did to Pershing takes some brass balls. So I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen to her, but I feel like it would be extremely frustrating if it just like goes away. They've got to address it, right? See, I thought she was a loose end last season because we never saw her die during the takeover of the cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really weird that they killed her off screen. And now we find out that they took a bunch of prisoners. So the fact that we never saw that happening, even though we felt like we were seeing the whole action, is telling us that there's a whole bunch going on just around the corner. I bet there's a bunch of like deleted scenes and things like that that just don't make the cut for like runtime.
That's true.
So who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's more deleted scenes in showing what happens to her after that were for this very season. You know,
I'm thinking of all the potential things of Andor season 2 now, because like I'm looking back through some of the comments here and thinking about Bad Batch season 2 finale and how we got to see little CGI Krennic there for a second, and we got to see that very early on Imperial Shadow Council. So again, the similarities and the symmetries that we got going on between the different shows happening in different timelines is just really,
that's a parallel I hadn't thought about, is that they are both like centered around Imperial meetings happening in the penultimate episode. We've got the summit and we've got the Shadow Council. Yep. Yeah, that is a parallel, showing that like, nothing's changed. The Remnants not doing anything new. They're just trying to use the old Imperial playbook. Gideon was the only one trying something different. He was trying to advance the cloning and didn't want to wait the next 30 years. He was like, no, I'm doing it now. And I'm cloning me, and I'm putting the Force in that thing.
Cloning me.
I'm cloning me right now. And look where that got him. Like, Paleon knew it was going to go down, but he wasn't going to say it to his face. He was like, Gideon, you're a fool. And like, I'm just going to, like, you could see it. If you go back and watch the Shadow Council scene, Paleon's face, he's just like, I just need to outweight this fool. And he's gonna self-combust because he's biting off way more than he can chew. He thinks he can just handle a planet full of Mandalorians.
That's true.
So like he made the right move. He didn't even try to like counter him. He was just like, we'll patiently wait for him to no longer be a problem.
Yeah. And now then we got the summit. Then we got Saw Gerrera blowing up fucking Tarkin's house at this Imperial summit.
People were pissed.
We're finding out about secret cloning projects in the first place. Like
people are blaming Saw Gerrera for Tech's death.
For Tech's death? Oh.
Yeah. Like Saw Gerrera was about to absolutely strike the biggest blow that the rebellion was ever going to strike for the next like 10 years.
Yep.
And it was prevented, and Tech did die in like the aftermath, but like you can't put that on Saw Gerrera.
Nope.
You can't blame a Saw Gerrera for doing what a Saw Gerrera is going to do. Like, he's just doing him. They should have anticipated this. As soon as they saw him be like, oh, this shit's about to blow, let's go.
It's true. And they kind of did. They tried to do that.
They needed Crosshair's location, but they got out as fast as they could. Yes, I absolutely will I am currently waiting for the last couple components of my brand new PC, and then I will assemble it, and then I'll start streaming Jedi Survivor. You mean Jedi Survivor, right? Not Jedi Fallen Order. Although I'm probably going to stream that too while I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm sure they mean the second one.
But, I'm really excited to get started on that.
It comes out next month also. So like,
well, no, it comes out in like 3 days.
Oh, in 3 days. Okay, gotcha.
It comes out in 3 days. I won't be playing it till the 4th though, because that's when my liquid cooler gets here, which is too bad. I'm going to end up being late, but I'll be playing it in a way higher resolution, so it's going to be worth it for everybody, me and everyone watching on the stream. Man, my new computer is liquid cooled. 16-year-old me would be so impressed by that. Like, when that shit came out, it was so fancy, and now it's like fairly standard. It's not expensive anymore. Yes. My inner child is very impressed with that.
But yeah, because I'm gonna have to, because all of this is going to be canon story now, and all of this is going to be very heavy within the new lore. So I'm gonna have to, the only way I'm gonna know what the story is like is if I'm watching it through your eyes. So
yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing it, and I'm gonna have to like hide from the entire internet from the time the game comes out to when I can actually play it, because I don't want any spoilers. I want to go into it totally blind.
Because next month we get Secret Invasion on Disney Plus. We get Vision Season 2. Fuck yes, in May, on May 4th, and then
it's coming like next week.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy, the third movie, also comes out May 5th in theaters. So a lot of good shit.
And Dungeons and Dragons, which I still haven't seen because I'm waiting for it to hit streaming so I can react to it. Yeah, well, that's good. We're gonna react to it together. It's gonna be dope.
We'll have to find a streaming, or find out like which services it's being streamed on.
Totally. I think we've got some time. I'm just trying to be patient with this one, even though I'm super excited to watch it. But yes, Vision Season 2. It's coming out next freaking. Oh man, it's coming out next week. You and I are gonna watch every single episode. We're gonna be dropping the reactions on the YouTube channel, so you guys can stay tuned for those. And the full length reactions will be up on Patreon. I'm so excited, man.
I'm still thinking we're gonna have to split it up into like a 2-day venture.
And that's fine. That's fine. We'll figure out the logistics.
The first three or the first 4 episodes one day, and then
we'll figure out the logistics. They're dropping 9 episodes. They're like between 10 and 20 minutes. So we'll figure that out. But I'm just so excited. Really, really loved them last time. Paramount Plus, awesome. Thank you. I'll be staying tuned. I have Paramount Plus too, so that's perfect.
I think I do. It'll be a kind of way different kind of recording and reaction, because I would have to be recording this from my living room.
Ooh.
So the background
in order to watch Paramount Plus.
Yeah, because I don't have it on like my tablet or computer or anything. It would just have to be on. Excuse me. It'd have to be on the TV.
We will make it happen for sure. That's right. Grizzly Wizard reaction to D&D. I can't wait. I really can't wait. Yeah, no, we're not going to show the clip. That's what got us pulled last time, which is weird because it was a public clip on YouTube. I don't get it, but yes, Vision Season 2 does look really good, and I'm going to grab the trailer so we can watch that real quick, because why not? The logo was blue last time, and now it's red. We also got a red logo for.
We have a couple of different colors. People asking about the Flash. Honestly, I don't give a shit about DC anymore. They used to be cool until they weren't, and then it's just like, I don't know. I have so much other things and so much other media to try to keep track of, and you know, like I still have the Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering set that comes out in June. That's what I'm fucking pumped about. That's what my nerdy self is getting excited about. You know what else comes out in June, summer fucking 2023? Star Wars Shatterpoint, which means we're going to have to watch my ass watching YouTube videos on how to play that shit.
No, that's going to be great.
That's going to be an expensive investment. So I'm not even going to be able to get into Shadowpoint until.
That's like, you got to have like Warhammer money for that, man. That's like one of the most expensive hobbies you can have. Tabletop wargaming, man. That's where they get you. That's where they get you. streaming services, whatever. Like my cartel market addiction in SWTOR is nothing compared to what
Plastic.
you spend if you're trying to buy plastic and
It's that
paints
plastic
and
resin.
terrain and dice and rule books and codex,
man.
codices and
Yeah,
like all
man.
of it. Oh my god, there's a knitting scene. It's like it was tailor made for you. As long as there's no scary frogs.
Yeah. No. And then yeah, see, so I mean for June, I guess that kind of makes sense having different games come out because it's like, you know, prime summertime. But yeah, the art for the Magic the Gathering cards, just like I will look at it, I'll periodically look at it because I'll forget about it and it'll just like instantly make me drool and salivate and I'll be like, yes, fucking give me this amazing artwork in my pocket. But yeah, and then like Marvel Crisis, it just like is just so much fun tabletop wise. But I know Shatterpoint is going to be very expensive. So
it's gonna be your summer obsession, and I'm here for it, man. I'm gonna be painting as many minis as I can. The minis are a little larger, which is better for me because I'm not great at the painting. I need the details to be bigger.
it'll make it way easier for using contrast paints. It'll be easier to do certain dry brushing techniques. I mean, I've seen your minis. Like you can totally kick these in the balls.
I can do it. It's gonna be a very stressful experience for me. I'm not good enough for painting to be relaxing yet. It's still nerve-wracking.
You just got to start with the B1s. Start with some of the clones.
Yes, I've been saying for years, man, they should, because I know that they started work on the RC sequel, but then they canceled it. They should have just repackaged it as the Bad Batch video game using the same mechanics as Republic Commando. That would have been so sweet. And you can be fighting against Republic
That'd be
Commando.
so easy. That would be so
easy. That would be a sweet game. That would be such a good game.
Or they could use the fucking Team Fortress fight engine and do the same thing and have a heavy gunner, have the general, have the blah blah. They're either 40 or 34, one of the two.
Or I think they are 40. I think they were confirmed to be 40 because 35 is Warhammer.
That's true. 35 is the.
So they're 40. They're the bigger ones. Yeah. Hello there. Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 has not been confirmed, but there was a statement made by Deborah Chow saying that if the story's there, they're open to it. So it's a maybe. Who knows? They've teased that they're interested in doing more, but I guess they're kind of they're gauging fan reception first, seeing if there's an audience for it, which I think is a smart idea.
Well, there's so many stories also that they're working on right now still, like Skeleton Crew, we don't know shit about. Acolytes coming out. We have a lot of High Republic things that are going to be happening and coming out. So
yeah, it's going to be a really eventful summer.
Really cool. Those little sneaked scene pictures that you posted on your Instagram, like
the costumes look amazing. And also on the Discord server there are videos of the trailers that were shown at Celebration. They're not the greatest quality, but enough to give you the gist. And I'm not going to show them here obviously, but it's enough to get you excited for sure. Can't wait for the SWTOR Sunday where Doc and the crew hold an intervention for Kyle's cartel spending. Oh man, for sure. Yes, SWTOR Sunday, or if Droid Herder's wife calls, would you say that he's at brunch? Oh man. Speaking of which, Witcher 3 is a story I think is going to be super psyched for it. Henry Cavill's in this season, right? They recast him, but he's still got one more season that's coming out, is my understanding of it. I haven't actually watched any of The Witcher yet, so I was planning to react to it. You want to react to it with me?
I don't have Netflix.
Sure. Well, we can get around that easy. But if you're down to jump onto those reactions, I was going to put those on Grizzled Wizard eventually. So if you want to get in on that,
maybe let me think on that one.
We'll talk.
There's a lot of smut.
I'm definitely watching it.
I'll see where they Kevin Cavill. Nothing else. Not
Hemi Witcher, because it's Hemsworth. That's right. Oh, so he's carrying this thing, and they recast him. Well, that's yikes. I will make up my own mind when I watch it, but at the same time, like, don't get rid of your star. Was it his choice to leave, or did they fire him? Like, what happened there? Yeah, right. How does an intervention work when everyone in the room is an addict? How's that going to go?
Yes.
That's right. He's doing a Warhammer thing. That I am excited for, actually.
Yeah, I knew about that one, and I knew about that thing, but
I never
when
had
it came to the reasons
lead
as
to
to
that,
why he was leaving or who asked him to leave. Yeah, I don't.
Well, looks like
There's
we're
too many
getting
speculations around
opposing stories here, and so it sounds like we don't know for sure because people are saying both things.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be lore accurate, and the producers called him toxic. Well, that's just dramatic. I don't know about that.
Yeah, see,
Regardless,
I don't
I
care.
think moving from The Witcher to Warhammer is the move because I know that The Witcher is a
definitely.
beloved series, but I think Warhammer's fans are legion. They're a little intense for sure.
Well, he's a
But
fan
there's
and
a
he's a
lot
player.
of them.
Exactly. Well, that too, but like he's a fan.
If you can get a good Warhammer TV show off the ground, like, ooh, it's gonna make so much money. There is a massive, massive audience for it. So many people play that game. I don't know a whole lot about the lore. I don't have enough money to know about the lore. I've never been able to invest in playing the tabletop game. And like, I don't know. Visually, I love the look of 40K, especially like the Eldar and the Dark Eldar. They look like came straight out of like a Rodney Matthews album cover. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Very retro futurist sci-fi, and like just aesthetically, I dig it. I dig the hell out of it.
And then Age of Sigmar came out, and then like you got
Sigmar's all like ancient Rome looking gladiator looking space marines.
Yeah, and then you got the Night Haunt ghosts, which are the coolest fucking units ever.
Watch him play the God Emperor himself. I know he's a huge fan of Warhammer. I follow his painting of his minis that he shows off. Like he's actually a super talented painter. Him and Sam Witwer both. I would love to see them sitting around a painting table having a conversation. I think that would be
for real.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, watching Witwer.
Especially if I could get that table painting too.
Or Paint Legion. Yeah, 100%.
A lot.
Warhammer, dude. Just go on Amazon and just look up the starter kit. Just look up what a core box. Yeah.
And then look up all your painting supplies that go along with it that aren't included. You know, because it's just the plastic.
Yep.
I've heard that story. He was playing World of Warcraft and his clan was raiding. Yeah, he also was playing World of Warcraft when he got the call that he had gotten the job too, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he talked about that on a couple of different interviews, but the time I saw him do it was on like the Graham Norton show or something.
Spice Marine.
Yes.
When handled correctly, it's not overwhelming. A throwaway line of exposition here, scratch the surface over there. Something walks past that if you know the lore, you know what it was.
That's true.
Things that aren't necessarily like in your face and make you feel lost if you don't recognize them. Like extra things. That's how you do it. You ease them in and then you have spin-offs if the first one is successful, and then you can dive into the lore, you know. Have whole series just about the lore. But it can be a limiting factor if you try to include everything at once in the introductory like TV show, movie, whatever it is. You got to ease people into that, especially something with this crazy batshit lore like 40K.
That's true. Yeah, because it could go.
Cool. Okay.
Because it could go very Starship Troopers real quick, or it could go, very StarCraft.
Starship. They should make a StarCraft style game, like an RTS that's Starship Troopers. That would be awesome.
It did. It was called StarCraft.
Well, I know, but I think they should literally make like a Starship Troopers one.
Oh, I gotcha.
Get Neil Patrick Harris to do the voice of the.
Or if they needed a first-person shooter. Well, I guess that would kind of be like Doom, essentially. Damn. Yeah, there's too many things that are similar to it, but not quite it itself.
More Dooku. I haven't had enough. I haven't got my fill of young Blue Saber Dooku. We need more Dooku stories. And I know that that's selfish because we've gotten some Dooku and there's so many other Jedi, but I want more Dooku, man.
Yeah, or Dooku Ventress. Give us more training. Or give us Dooku Quinlan.
Give us
the
Jedi origin story of Aura Singh. That's what I changed my answer to. Give us the story of her as a Padawan, seeing her master get killed, falling to the dark side, becoming a bounty hunter. Because that was her story in Legends, is that she was a Jedi once. And now she's a bounty hunter who specializes in Jedi kills. And
that's nuts.
Aura Singh is fucking cool. And we need more of her in general.
What's the thing what's the fucking antenna thing that's sticking out of her
It's
head?
a fucking antenna thing. It's literally an antenna. She uses it to like intercept people's like radio transmissions and stuff.
Oh my god.
So if she's like hiding behind a rock and you're using your walkie-talkie over there, she's like listening to what you're saying.
Damn.
Yeah. And Ahsoka cuts it off in one of the episodes. She like ducks and Ahsoka, like the blade goes over her head, and that must have been so fucking loud.
A lot of static all at
like
once.
it's feeding directly into her brain. Like
Yeah, it's true. Damn. Yeah, if we got more Ventress, that would be fucking dope. If we got more Quinlan Vos, that would be fucking dope.
they did kind of give Ventress Aurra Singh's story, but they did it in a different way. And I think there's room for both. More Ayla Secura would be badass, for sure.
If they gave us Quinlan, they would give us Ayla. I mean, not necessarily, but like,
Yes.
yeah, if they want to, go read the Republic comics if you want to see peak Aurra Singh content. It's 100%. True.
100%. The Aurra Singh stories in Dark Horse comics, the Tales of the Republic, where she goes up against Ayla Secura, it's definitely some of the best. I think you mean Dark Disciple. Dark Discipline sounds like a porno. But yes, I would like to see that story in live action for sure.
This actually would be pretty cool. Because if we got to see Rey, if we got to see future Rey, or like any point of her training, like that would be cool. And then Plo Koon, like fuck yeah, I'm just down for Plo Koon at any point in time. Like Plo Koon's just
actually, go back to Brandon's comment. Brandon, that's a very, very good point. Is that I'm still like limiting my scope to Tales of the Jedi of the Old Republic of the later part of the era, like that small time period. But you're right. Like Tales of the Jedi could be any Jedi. It could be Rey. It could be Rey's students. It could be Ben Solo, like when he's being taught by Luke. Like there's so many Jedi of all different time periods. We could get something about like Bel Zettifar or a High Republic Jedi. Any of them. And that would be really cool to finally see other time periods in the same animation style as the Clone Wars. Like,
it's true.
That would be sick. They could even give us like a short story about like fucking Cal Kestis in animation if they wanted to.
That's true. Especially if they wanted to.
Like a Jaro Tapal story. What about an act like a story about Cal's master having to go and like do some badass stuff and Cal's just like a little like good for nothing Padawan who doesn't know how to do stuff yet.
A little good for nothing Padawan. I mean, hey, if they still could give us Tales of the Sith, then they could give us like, a background of Exar Kun, and they could give us Marco Regnus shit. It's like the possibilities are endless.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, that's the real answer is I want more Tales of the more Tales of the Jedi would be great. But if we could wait until we've had a Tales of the Sith, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tale of the Smugglers, Tale of the what have you,
yes,
and then another Tales of the Jedi with more Jedi in it, like give us all, because that was one of the coolest things that Legends books did was those short story compendiums, Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, Tales from Jabba's Palace. Those were my favorites. Those are some of the coolest stories. And also Dark Horse Comics, Star Wars Tales. Those are really fun. I think that we shouldn't limit it to the Jedi. Even though we love the Jedi, we know all the Jedi, there's so much else in Star Wars that would be cool to get compelling stories for. Tales of the Bounty Hunters or Tales of the Smugglers, and we'd get like a Hondo story, like a 3-part Hondo story. How awesome would that be?
Oh, bro, what if Hondo was like narrating the whole thing? That would be fucking hilarious.
Let me tell you about my adventures.
Exactly, dude. Like if he just straight up like Arabian Nights that shit.
Sitting on Batu, drinking some spotchka. Now gather round.
Like if it was like a Tales from the Crypt kind of show, and it's just fucking animatronic Hondo just being like, welcome, my friends.
Yeah, he's sitting in an armchair by a fire, like drinking some spotchka, and Melch is in the kitchen, like baking cookies. You can like hear him in the background while Hondo's telling the story.
Yeah, dude.
They're in a cozy little cabin somewhere. Yeah, Tales of the Inquisitors.
Exactly.
Tales of the Bith Musicians should be a VH1 behind the music.
Yes, that'd be fucking hilarious. But yes, Darth Bane, if you gave us the history of the origin of the Rule of Two, that'd be fucking dope. Because everyone
already have the model for him.
Yeah, and it's like everyone kind of knows the Rule of Two, but nobody knows shit. Or they could show us the legend story of when Darth Bane goes and like covers himself with force reflective fucking bugs and like he just puts all these parasites on his skin that slowly eat him from the fucking outside in. But you just know what? They're force repulsive, so like or repulsive. So it's like fuck it, let's put this armor on. Yeah.
What about Tales of the Chiss? Bunch of random things inside the Chiss Ascendancy, and we can get to like meet Admiral Arlani and like all like that would be really cool as well. Catch up with Ezra and Thrawn. After it's been revealed, of course, in Ahsoka what they've been up to, we could get a Tales of that like bridges that gap in animation. That would be very cool. Okay, let's see. We got a lot of suggestions here. Tales of the Battle Droids. Roger. The Max Rebo Chronicles. I would watch that. Tales of the 501st. See The Clone Wars.
That's true.
Dr. Saipa with Quinlan Voss's whole POV of Order 66. Sounds gratuitous, but I would definitely watch it. Tales of the Jizz Whalers, a VH1 exclusive. Tales of the Scoundrels. Now we're talking. For sure. Tale of Jar Jar. It would be sad. It would be very, very sad if it's canon. Tales of the Hutts.
Sad clown level.
Legit. Sad clown, a Star Wars story. Tales of the Empire was one of my favorite books. K.W. Jeter wrote that one, I'm pretty sure. He also did Hard Merchandise, The Mandalorian Armor. He was kind of like the go-to Boba writer for a long time in Legends.
That's true.
Tales of Dark Sun Prince Shizor. They made that one. It was written by Steve Perry. It was called Shadows of the Empire. Tales of the Night Sisters.
Yes.
Takes of the Anzellans, which is better than the Tales of the Anzellans because it's not a story. It's just them giving you their hot takes.
My God,
like sitting around being like, that guy sucks. We hate him. He never pays for the droids.
That'd be fucking hilarious. Tales of the Maw.
The Maw installation from Jedi Search by Kevin J. Anderson. That's where we meet Admiral Natazi Dalla. Excuse me, Grand Admiral Natazi Dalla, who is like Tarkin's protege. And she's been in this secret like Black Ops installation inside a cluster of black holes next to Kessel. So no one can basically get in there and find, like, if you get in, you can't get out again. And so they're isolated in there. And it's like 25, 30 years after the Death Star was destroyed and the Empire's gone, but they don't fucking know that.
Oh, yeah.
It's the whole like that Vietnamese soldier who didn't know that the Vietnam War was over and was like up in a tree somewhere for like a year. It's that whole thing. Like all these Imperials are like gunning for war, and the Falcon shows up and he's like, "Are those Imperials? What?" But yeah, she was like Tarkin's protege, and she becomes like a big bad for quite a few of the novels, and then eventually she like takes over the Galactic Alliance. Like once the Empire and the Republic finally like merge into one government again, there's a proper like a lasting treaty. She's in charge, which is pretty nuts. So an Imperial kind of becomes top dog over the Republic. They join forces to fight the Vong because the Yuuzhan Vong have invaded the galaxy and they're just kicking everybody's ass. The Imperial remnant space is being conquered, the Republic's being conquered. So they're like, let's join forces and just be one big government.
Are they just super fucking difficult to kill, or is it purely just that their armor just repels blaster fire?
They're hard to kill, and their armor repels blaster fire. And their armor cannot be cut by lightsabers, and they cannot be felt in the Force. So the Jedi have no tactical advantage over them. At that point, it's like, are you a better physical fighter than this Vong? That's how you're going to survive. Not you can't force push him, you can't cut his head off. And they fight with these weapons called amphistaffs, which are like long, like quarterstaffs, but they're actual living creatures, and they can turn into like snake-like whips, or they can coil around the hand, or they can use them like a cudgel. So they got these crazy, unpredictable weapons. Because the Yuuzhan Vong's whole thing is they have symbiosis with nature. So instead of using technology, they grow creatures to do things for them.
Jesus.
So they grow their weapons. They grow their ships out of like living coral. It's a totally cool concept. It's very like un-Star Wars-y. It's outside of Star Wars. But that was the whole point. So they needed a new threat that was unlike anything else. Yeah, it's organic tech. How do you defeat them? Not easily. Literally, Luke just beasts it. There's a ton of casualties on their side, and they finally fight into the heart of Vong territory, and he's able to kill Overlord Shimra, who it turns out isn't actually in charge. And I won't say the rest of it because they're amazing books, and you should really read them, and I'm not going to spoil the whole ending. But it's Yeah, it's crazy. Those were my 7, 8, and 9 for a very long time. Well, that's not true, actually. I've always thought of Star Wars episodes 7, 8, and 9 as Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, the original Thrawn trilogy. Like, I think everyone feels that way, actually. Everyone who read those books, like, kind of just considered them the next thing in the big story.
Gotcha.
Tales of Jaster Muriel, that would be dope. I would like to see Jodo Cast come to the screen. I think my favorite Boba Fett story is Twin Ion Engines of Destruction, which was a Dark Horse comic where Jodo Cast is going around wearing his Mando armor, pretending to be Boba Fett and cashing in on his reputation. And then Boba gets wind of it and comes and they have a fight to the death. That would make a really cool little short. That could be season 2 of Book of Boba, honestly. Because he got out of there and he barely left Tatooine. So, like, maybe word hasn't traveled and somewhere else there's some guy cashing in on his reputation. Now that would be a sweet season 2, honestly.
I mean, that's kind of what he that's how I heard about Cobb Vanth.
Or since they just have to change everything, they can't let anything come from Legends the way it was. They'd change it, and instead of Jodo Cast, it'd be a clone, like another clone pretending to be Boba. Like, that would be crazy, because he has the same voice. He just keeps the helmet on, and you can't tell that he's like 30 years older than he's supposed to be because he has the rapid aging.
That's true.
That would be a cool way to do it. The Tales of Zuckuss. Please. Zuckuss and Forlom.
That'd be
let them
funny.
finally
So
get their day.
It'd be so good.
Tales of the Assassin Droids, a new IG every week.
That would just be that would again just be part of like Tales of the Bounty Hunters, if anything.
That would definitely be part of Tales of the Bounty Hunters, or be part of like Tales of Black Sun kind of thing, you know, like the Syndicate Wars, which we know took place before the Old Republic.
Yeah.
That would be really funny if they did introduce more IG droids every week and Taika Waititi became the new D. Bradley Baker. D. Baker's the voice of all the clones, and now Taika Waititi is all the IG droids. Same way Matt Wood is all the battle droids.
That is something that I could definitely get behind, purely because
Tatooine.
Yeah. If we get to see the Tatooine oceans, that would be pretty cool. Or if we got to see more crate dragons, that'd be fucking cool. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot, or those weird Gordo monsters that we got to see fighting. Like, yeah, honestly, there are things that the Tuscans could show us 100%.
I mean, we it's been proven. Book of Boba Fett, I think the most compelling episode was the Tribes of Tatooine, honestly. Until they killed them all, damn it. I think, honestly, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the best answer is I want Tales of every era. So give me a Tales of the High Republic, Tales of the Old Republic, Tales of the New Republic, Tales of the New Jedi Order. Every single era needs to be represented in the same, like, animation style. Just because I'm such a completist, I like, what really is gratifying to me is getting to see like two things next to each other and they look like they're from the same universe. Like, for me, getting to see the Falcon and the Force Awakens with like the 2015 production values, like, it just looked crisper and more HD than it's ever looked because just time has passed and technology's gotten better. Like, that was so gratifying to me, is that like it made those movies made in the 80s feel so much more real because just you can see so much more detail, you know, in 4K, you know, how they filmed it. And so that same feeling happens when you see a character in animation, in an animation style, and then they're all in the same, like Rebels, different animation style. So I don't get that feeling when like Clone Wars characters show up in Rebels because they look too different.
Oh, like fucking Zeb? Yeah, that was trippy.
Well, not even Zeb's. I mean, because Zeb in live action looked great, but I mean, like when Ahsoka showed up in Rebels.
Oh yeah,
it was two different looking,
two different animation styles.
Stylistically, yeah. And Rex got a total redesign because time had passed, and I liked his design.
That's true.
But it didn't feel like I was seeing the same Rex again in a new setting. Like it was a new Rex, if that makes any sense. There was fucking Burger King or like one of the fast food places had like a Happy Meal type deal during the Clone Wars when it was airing, where you could get little toys of like the characters like Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, etc. and the action figures looked like the Clone Wars animation. But they also had like Han Solo, Luke, and Leia and stuff, and they had created action figures that looked like the Clone Wars animation of the original trilogy characters. And I remember I was so excited by that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. We get to see what they would look like if they had a Clone Wars style show set in this time period.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember who did it, but yeah, I remember.
I'm pretty sure it was either Burger King or like Wendy's or one of those. It was one of those deals. But yeah, no, that's what I would love. Is I'd love to see all eras of time represented in the same stylist, like in the same aesthetic.
Yeah.
Corpus of Cassius Fett show up inside the Book of Boba Fett season 2, or a Journal of Jango. Journal of Jango would be cool. That'd be tricky because Tim is way too old to play Jango now. So they would have to like give him that CGI facelift, and that gets expensive. I think we just need more Boba stories. Take advantage of the fact that he is the way he is now and just let him continue to be Boba, you know?
It's true. Or have Tia Morrison like be the narrator or be the introduction for other Boba stories, and just like kind of have it be a Mando thing of like he doesn't take his helmet off. So it could still be like a stunt. It could still be a stunt dude doing all the younger Boba Fett stuff, but like have Tia Mora be the.
They could do that, except that neither Boba or Jango ever had a thing about helmets.
I'm just trying to think of a way that you could have Boba Fett doing Boba Fett.
Totally. They could invent that, but that would be a change to the character. But they could do that. I don't know about the Song of Bo-Katan. I feel like the Song of Bo-Katan is the Clone Wars, Rebels, and Mando season 3. So certain characters, we've seen their whole arc as a supporting character in all these different things. And at this point, it's like, what is there left to see? You know, I guess the only thing with Bo-Katan that would be left to see would be the fall of Mandalore.
It's her death. Yep.
Well, not necessarily her death, but like her losing the saber to Gideon and the fall, and when Gideon did the purge and everything.
Well, we still have to see her. Like, we still have to see them fail when the First Order comes. We still have to see them fail potentially if or when Thrawn comes. Like,
I don't think the Mandos are gonna fail to the First Order, because there's Mandalorian ships in that massive fleet shot at the end of Rise of Skywalker. So we know the Mandos are gonna endure at least, which is exciting because I bet you we're gonna get at least some sort of Mandalorian action in Rey's new movie, 15 years after 9. They're not setting up all these things and all these characters and locations and cultures for them not to reference them again. I really feel like they're just going to keep pushing it forward. So the things that are set after episode 9 are going to heavily reference the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, maybe even Andor. Because I think that's Disney's eventual game plan, is to try and create enough supplemental storylines that they're rarely referencing the original anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's true.
They want it to all be centered around Disney,
especially when those actors start to pass away, and you can't use them in your other stories.
They've been very clever about that. They've been very clever introducing a lot of beloved characters that it doesn't matter who plays them. Like Grogu, for example, you know? A whole bunch of people who wear helmets all the time. And therefore, like, the person in the suit can be interchangeable as long as they have the voice.
That's true.
I feel like there's definitely a strategy behind that, trying to create characters that have longevity because they don't have a human face that ages necessarily. That would be great. That would be a great way to honor Daniel Logan and Tim as well. I would be down with that.
Oh, that's true. Like they did in Holy Grail. Yeah, that is like one of the best indie movies.
Yeah, with
Last Crusade. It wasn't called Holy Grail. It was
Last Crusade. It was River Phoenix. Yeah, that's right. I played young Harrison. R.I.P. River Phoenix. Man, sometimes I think about the things he would have gone on to do. Tales of the Bounty Hunters, John Wick style. Basically, if you want a guy disintegrated, get me integrated. That's Dengar's motto. I don't know. I really don't know if BioWare and Disney will ever reconcile their Star Wars universes. I think that there's interest in doing it, and I think that there are like certain elements that they want to pick and choose from. Yeah. But I don't think that there's ever going to be like a sweeping general canonization. I think it's always going to be this way. The Rise of Skywalker canonized a lot of it in terms of like names and places and things like that. All of the Sith legions are named after Sith lords. We've got Naga Sadow, Exar Kun, Revan himself. Like the name of Revan is now canon, on-screen canon. Maybe not on-screen, but like, you know, visual dictionary level. But still, so that shows that it's already happening. They're picking and choosing the little elements that they want to, and you can call it an homage, you can call it a tribute, you can call it stealing. Like, it really depends on your opinion of how they're handling it. But I don't think that we're ever going to get Knights of the Old Republic as a whole. We'll get bits and pieces of the story retold and reconstituted in new ways. The same way Kyle Katarn was chopped up and put into 4 different characters. You got elements of his story in Kanan. You've got him in Cassian Andor. You've got a little bit of his story in Finn, former stormtrooper turned Force sensitive. Like that. That's what they do. They take things that already exist and they take the best attributes that they can and they parcel them out among their new properties. Things that they can say they created. And the same thing with Ram Koda, who's canon now, by the way. His name was on the wall of the path in Kenobi. Which is
his name, yeah. We don't know if it's actually like a lot of
again, bits and pieces. Like just like the names of the Sith legions, we've got the name of Ram Koda. Who is Ram Koda in canon? We can't say for sure, but we know that he was a Jedi and that he was out there and that he survived Order 66, most importantly.
Same with Starkiller Base.
Same with Quinlan Voss. We're gonna see him again, man.
I really hope, yeah. They need
Ram Koda.
So that's why I said hopefully he'll show up in Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Because, like, especially if they keep bringing him up.
Well, the thing about Ram Koda is that, yes, his name is on the wall, but his story has been given to Kanan Jarrus.
No, but Quinlan. We're talking about
Quinlan, yes, but I'm finishing up my thought that I was just in the middle of about Ram Koda, is that he's a blinded Jedi who was a teacher, and that's been taken and given to Kanan Jarrus' story arc. So, like, that's now that Kanan Jarrus exists. What's Koda going to do that doesn't feel like it's repeating that? So they would have to change him if they brought him in. Sorry, what were you saying? You were talking about another guy.
Oh, same with Quinlan.
Quinlan Voss, that's right. Quinlan Voss, they don't need to do anything to. He is who he is. He is canon thanks to the Clone Wars. His name was on that wall. I hope we get him in live action. Who would you cast if you had to cast someone to be Quinlan?
Oh, I can't think of that right now. I don't know.
I don't have a casting off the top of my head. I've been watching this show. It's really bad. It's called Florida Man. It's on Netflix. I don't know the name of the actor, but the main guy in that would be a killer Quinlan Voss, I think. He's great. The show's not very good though. I was bored the other day and I was like, I need something new to watch. I tried it, made it like an episode and a half in. I think it's a pretty new show. Jason Momoa. I feel like he has the Jack Black Lizzo problem of too many people are going to recognize him as other things, and it's going to pull them out of the moment. He might be too big for that role.
He could have been Quinlan when he was still really unknown, when he was still working on Stargate Atlantis. He could have been great as Quinlan, but now if he played Quinlan now, people would just see him playing himself, and that's not. He wouldn't be able to separate himself from Quinlan Voss, and that would kind of be upsetting.
I'm looking it up right now. The background actor who played Quinlan Voss.
Like, I'm sure there could be some like Native American actor or some Native American person that could play Quinlan.
Sure,
and that would be and that could work.
Absolutely. I just looked. It doesn't look like he's ever been credited, so I don't think it is known. Maybe someone out there knows. If you know who played him, please let us know in the chat right here. Zane McLaren, is that the guy from Florida Man? Or is that who you're casting? Because someone else is also casting him. Let me look it up. Let me look up his face real fast. It's like Will Rohood all over again. Oh, hell yeah, that dude. Hansi from Fargo. Yeah, Zan McLaren. And he was in Westworld too. Yeah. He'd be good. I feel like he's a little too old. Although I guess OT era he would be older. So yeah, that could totally work. That is a good casting. Was he in Hawkeye? Man, I don't remember Hawkeye. I need to rewatch that. I don't remember anything from it. I remember it was set during Christmas time. And that what's-her-face wore a lot of purple. That's about all I remember. Uh-oh. We're setting off the nerd alerts. We're being raided! Intensify forward firepower!
Westworld was pretty good. I still have yet to see the final season that came out, but yeah.
I have not seen the final season of Westworld either, actually. Hello there, all of you Raiders. Welcome, welcome. Make yourselves at home. I don't know, because I feel like the voice is the most important thing when it comes to Asajj Ventress.
It's true.
Hawkeye was fun.
I'm sure one of the Dora Milaje actors from one of the Black Panther movies could do it.
Be Ventress?
Mm-hmm.
I think what's her name? Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula. She could do it. It might be a voice challenge, though. Honestly. Do you remember when Angelina Jolie played Grendel's mom in that animated Beowulf movie?
Was it animated? I thought it was like I thought it was like kind of real.
It was mocap CG. Oh no, it was pre-mocap. It was just animated CG. I remember that. That was a 3D movie. That was right before like the technology was like solid.
Yeah, kind of. I never saw it though.
Beowulf. Everyone was looking like they had Polar Express eyes. It was crazy. Hey, hello there. Thank you. You are awesome too, just so you know. I saw that movie at the theater in my shopping mall, and I put on the 3D glasses, and I was like, whoa, it was totally mind blown. And then I rewatched it like a few months ago. I was like, man, that movie is dated. Just the CGI aged very fast. I had a good time. It's quaint, you know. It's one of those like it walks so a better movie could run kind of deal. Like they created technology for this that then was used better down the road somewhere else. So you got to respect it for that. Okay. Marjorie Terrell as Ventress, Natalie Dormer. I could see it. I've never seen her fight. And that's the other thing. You got to have the voice and you got to be able to sell some pretty intense fight moves because she's very skilled.
Yeah, not Ventress. Maybe Marin, but not Ventress.
I don't see her as Marin.
Yeah, either one. No.
You know who would have made a perfect Marin? Like, I don't know, a while ago would have been Lily Sobieski. I think she's aged out of the role now.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. She's been in a bunch of stuff. I remember she played Joan of Arc in a made-for-TV movie. I think that was the first thing I saw her in, actually. Did people think that? I didn't see that as a theory anywhere. That would have been pretty hilarious. They would have had a lot of explaining to do why he doesn't look anything like Temuera Morrison.
That's true. Well, I mean, it should have been like cool 99.
He would have played a cool 99, actually.
Exactly.
I could see it.
Exactly. It's just
99 should also look like Temuera Morrison, though. Like, honestly. He'd just be a really old Temuera Morrison. Zhang Ziyi from fucking House of Flying Daggers, bro. From Crouching Tiger? Hell yeah. Man, I used to have the biggest crush on her when I was like a teenager.
But yeah.
He does have a 99 energy about him. I could see it. It's because he's frail. You know, he's very tall and thin and old. Yeah, no, Zhang Ziyi is great. Christopher Lloyd would make an amazing Mon Calamari. That voice is made to be coming out of like a flappy fish face. Absolutely.
It's true. It's true. 100%.
He would have been great. Yes, Visions Season 2. So I want to watch the trailer one more time for Visions Season 2 here so we can talk about this because this is the very next thing that's going to be hitting us.
And then
I know that a lot of you guys are about to see Jedi Survivor. I'm going to be late on that. So because I'm building the computer.
I think this will have to be our closing note for the evening.
No problem. I'm okay with that. Let's do it. Ooh, Ruby Rose. Cerelia is saying Ruby Rose for Ventress. Honestly, I see it. I see the vision, and I like it. His breathing mask makes me think Keldor almost, just because of the points at the bottom. He's obviously not a Keldor, but made me think of Plo Koon's mask. Yes.
Everyone has an inner light.
I liked how that yellow saber is kind of like the same yellow saber we saw in season 1, where it was a color. It was a whole solid color in the middle, but also had a curve to it, like an actual.
Yep, like a katana kind of blade.
I saw it myself. She has special.
It had an edge.
Can you get your porta potty off the starting line?
She's a total. Exactly. Don't be
That's the one that I'm really looking forward to. Is the Arden.
Well, he looks so great.
Be with you.
Arden Studios.
It's showtime.
Yes.
The storm is approaching.
I can fight them. I'm strong enough now.
No one is stronger than them.
We can beat them.
Fuck yes.
You there. Hold it.
Let's go.
We cannot choose where our calling takes us. Only whether or not to answer.
The stop motion one looks really sick. Well, there's multiple stop motion ones. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. It's gonna be so good. The fact that there's like, it's just gonna be so good. It's truly an international production this time around too. There's animation studios from all around the world contributing to this. It just shows like it doesn't matter what country you're in, what language you speak, what your culture is. Like there's a love of Star Wars everywhere.
Exactly.
Something about it just unites people because it's not on this planet. It's somewhere else, and we can all feel that escapism together because none of us are from outer space. You know. It's exotic and new no matter where you are because it's in space. It's Star Wars. It's a long time ago. And
but at the same time, we've all wanted, a lot of it, people have either wanted to be on that other side of world or wanted, the technology or a lightsaber or a ship or a blaster. Yeah.
How do curved lightsabers work, by the way? I'll do you one better. How do lightsabers work?
That's a conversation for another time.
Yes. In order to understand how they curved it, first we got to know how they did it in the first place. But yes, we're just about at time here. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. This has been the Dork Forces podcast. We are your hosts, Kyle and Bendu. We've been here to nerd out about all things Star Wars and get just incredibly hyped for Star Wars Visions Season 2, which is dropping next week. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be reacting to these, dropping them on the YouTube channel starting next week. You'll be able to check the Patreon for the full-length reactions. And stay tuned at twitch.tv/Kyle Katarn channel, where I'm going to be streaming Jedi Survivor starting probably Thursday, May 4, as soon as I get the computer fully assembled. Stay tuned. I'll be posting updates on Discord and on Twitter and things like that.
I can't believe
thank you so much, everybody. I know. It's finally happening.
That's crazy.
I'm going to freak out about it. I need to throw the hype on this. It's all-purpose hype now. It's not just for Mando. It's for everything.
So good.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody. And as always, may the Force be with you. Bye.